because I do the things I should, to my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, it's that time, and I am duty bound to say good night wherever you are in St. Kitts and Nevis and throughout the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Talk family in the Kittitian and Nevisan diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to zizonline.com. I know that some of you are in Africa, there's some of you in Asia, there's some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you right here in North America. So I am at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I am sure it would be in order as well to say good afternoon, because one of such greetings would be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves, my Straight Talk family, and things are easing up in terms of the freedom from all these lockdowns all over the world. Some places I know having difficulty over there in India and other areas, even in the Caribbean, we do have some difficulties. Some people are still under lockdown, but let's hope for the best. Let us get familiar and get your minds made up for that second dose, for that vaccination, I should say. And God's spare, I will be getting my second dose tomorrow, and I look forward to that. But Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, be they social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try also to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing you, or blessing me rather, with another opportunity to join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family, on yet another occasion. If you're joining me for the first time, for first timers, I just want to inform you that this program is what I call a participative program. By that I mean you have the opportunity to call, you do have the opportunity to email, and if you're so minded to do so, the numbers are 465-2555. That's one number. There are 3 lines. There's quite a lot of complaints of not being able to get in, but I think you have to be patient, and some people get in 2 and 3 times. I'm going to limit them to 2 occasions as from now on. I did that before, but somehow that slipped away. Or slipped away from me. But let's try to be participative. Let everybody have a say. If you like the cloak of anonymity, you can access the program via Straight Talk, STRAIGAHTTALK, that's ZIZ, STRAIGHTTALK @gmail.com, my Straight Talk family. Now, I want to, before I forget, I say a happy birthday, or belated birthday, I should say, to my brother by another mother, Alwali Taylor, my good friend, my confidant, my campaign manager, Alwali Muhammad, who celebrated his birthday yesterday. And we trust he had a wonderful day and that he will live to see many, many more birthdays. As a matter of fact, all of us who have celebrated yesterday and all who are celebrating today, I wish you a very happy birthday. And I want to say a special good night to a special group as well. In the East Bastille, Karen, Van, Keisha, Chantel, Shares, and all my confidants, Bonnell, Wally, and the whole crew. Good to know that all is well, and trust me, all is well with me as well. Tonight, I want to discuss a very important topic, and that is the subject of tourism. Tourism means so much to all of us, my Straight Talk family, and we trust and hope you will participate for this program. Now, I'm doing so because there's a big labor friend of mine. Yes, I say my labor friend. I do have labor friends. Over the last few weeks, he has been badgering me with his comments. He's accusing me of being a biased host simply because he said that I have refused to play some sound bites on Straight Talk. The reason being, according to him, the sound bites would make the team unity government look bad. But I never took my labor friend, my big labor friend, I'm tempted to call his name, but I know he won't like that. I never took him serious because he knows better. He also knows that my mantra has always been and still is on this program. You must talk the truth, but be prepared to stand alone. My big labor friend called me again yesterday, thinking no doubt that he's bothering me, and persistently he went on and on without stopping. Over and over, he relentlessly tried to convince me that I'm afraid to play these tapes, to play these sound bites, because my friend, the Prime Minister, is saying one thing, but his cabinet colleagues are saying the opposite. My Straight Talk family, I decided I will let you hear the sound bites he accused me of refusing to play. And here is the first one, my Straight Talk family.
I believe if I jump up on the cabinet's desk anymore, they'll break it down. But just like private businesses are struggling and on the verge of collapse, government is also pressured. SCASFA, which I have the opportunity to lead at this moment, 327 employees, paid in them over a year. We're on the verge of no money because our funds are generated from cruise and our funds are generated from the airport. We haven't seen money in the coffers for over a year, like some of the private businesses. So we too are also suffering. That businesses are on the verge of collapse because of their financial difficulties. And that is why 2 weeks ago I went to the Prime Minister and said, Mr. Prime Minister, we need to do something. The country is dying. I said that to him. And the reason why it's dying and what we have to do. Yes, I could understand the science, etc., but we had to do something to balance the science with economics.
My Sri Lanka family, before I let you hear the second soundbite, I think I'm duty bound to correct some information that seemed to have gone out there, that the funds or revenue collected at the Aaron seaport come from cruise and the airport. But that's not a true statement, because remember, the cargo port was never closed. And as a matter of fact, in its 27-year history, the airport has never been, underlined, never been self-sufficient, and it is the cargo port that has subsidized and continues to subsidize the operations of the airport. So, if no money was collected, then it means that the agents who brought in cargo vessels have not paid the port. But not all, rather, they're not being billed. But as I said, the facts are the majority of the revenue collected at the port derives from the cargo throughput at the port, and that has to, or had to be, corrected. The second soundbite goes like this, my Stray Dog family.
Hoping that a post-mortem be done on this, our situation here, and to look at ways that we can garner ideas and support from the very people who are sitting in this room. I sat in hospital a month ago with a stroke, not understanding why I had it. It stresses me to know and understand that why is our minister not beating down cabinet's door to try to get financial support? An injection, yes, we talk about the injection of the vaccine, but an injection of finance, businesses, taxi drivers, restaurant tour operators who are about to close down. We have a fund, hundreds of millions of dollars, CBI, that can be used to offer some sort of support. We need to use it, because if not, half of us are going to close down. Mr. Minister, if you can go to cabinet, jump up and down on that table and said to the finance people, bring us some relief. It is needed.
Well, my Stray Dog family, I am here to tell you tonight that the country of St. Kitts and Nevis is alive, and tourism is not dead. As a matter of fact, from being one of the highest detonations in the world under the Douglas regime, it took the prudent leadership of Prime Minister Harris, who managed to salvage the ship of state from off the financial rocks, and St. Kitts and Nevis became the lowest, or had achieved, I should say, the lowest debt to GDP ratio in the Caribbean. And those are not my words. Those are the words of Timothy Antoine, the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. He said this.
The Monetary Council set a target of 2030 for member countries to achieve a public sector debt to GDP ratio of 60%. I congratulate St. Kitts and Nevis on being the first independent country in the ECCU to reach this target.
Yes, we have built fiscal resilience. Antoine also said, my Stray Dog family, that as the world emerges from the coronavirus-induced pandemic, we will find that the potential rewards for governments that succeed have never been greater. One good thing he noted is that St. Kitts and Nevis has good reserves, and they are, in fact, employing those reserves.
Shocks will come. Many of them are externally driven. We have no control. So the question is, how do we best position ourselves to cushion the effects? One of the first areas that we really encouraged is building fiscal resilience. Essentially, it is what our parents and grandparents did. Set aside something for a rainy day. The sun may be shining, but it will not always shine. Rainy days will come. And so we have been encouraging countries, encouraging our governments to set aside something so that in a period of downturn or economic difficulty, the government will be in a position to spend more and to help cushion the effect on the people. I know in St. Kitts and Nevis, the government has some reserves and they have been deploying those in this period. Help is welcome.
And those are not my words, the words of Timothy Antoine, the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. So, the economy is alive because I know as well that the man with the O who is in the charge of the game of bingo, the man with the O knows how to save for a rainy day and to avoid costly borrowing. You know, the man with the O.
We as a country have been able to avoid costly borrowing and run thus far on the savings that we had set aside prudently in the precious years of plenty. But it is time for the country to start earning revenues again. It is in your hands and in the hands of all of us.
Yes, my stray dog family, it is in our hands, the hands of all of us. And my stray dog family, all that is being requested of us as citizens is to vaccinate and help to reopen the economy. But getting back to tourism and the comments as well, I posit the view that the role of government is to focus on maintaining economic stability and fiscal responsibility, as that is an important part of stability. Government debt can quickly become a burden on the economy and weaken its foundations. So the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance must be applauded for reducing our public debt. There was also a reduction of corporate income tax, or the corporate income tax rate, from 33% to 25% for business or businesses that retain at least 75% of their employees. There was also a reduction of the unincorporated business tax rate from 4% to 2%. But as I said earlier, tourism is not dead. So there's no need for any post-mortem. Yes, post-mortem has its roots in Latin, and when translated into English, it means after death. In fact, when we speak about the post-mortem, we make reference to an examination, an investigation, or a process that takes place after death. Any post-mortem on tourism, therefore, would only be needed to determine the time and cause of the death of tourism, and I will say without fear of contradiction that tourism is not dead in St. Kitts Nevis unless you can tell me when such a death occurred. However, I would hasten to submit that what needs to take place is a thorough examination or discussion on the way forward for tourism before that eventuality. And I empathize with my friend Roger. I feel his pain, and I trust he has fully recovered. But the truth is, that model of government injecting money in private business has been tried, and it has not worked. It has been tried under Douglas. Remember with the SIDF, my straight dog family, the SIDF investment under Douglas? How many of us remember that?
And the SIDF, of course, it can get involved in activities of investment opportunities where it can invest the money that it has not only for its own future salvation and its own future development, but definitely as part and parcel of impacting the socio-economic development for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes, they invested in places like Christopher Harbour.
We have made investments in like Christopher Harbour. We had made investments in Kitchen Hill. We're about to make some other key investments in some other initiatives that you'll be hearing about shortly.
They invested a lot of money in Christopher Harbour and Kitchen Hill.
With respect to projects in the private sector, the two largest of these are the Kitchen Hill project, in which the SIDF has invested over $70 million, and Christopher Harbour, where over $43 million was lent by the SIDF to Christopher Harbour.
And that $43 million was US dollars. And to date, Buddy Darby has not paid back the government the cent. Government had to go and try to repossess that land. As a matter of fact, the National Bank, I should say, tried to repossess that land. Government is stuck in Kitchen Hill with $90 million of the people's money. Bad investment. So my straight dog family, as I said, that model has been tried. And I am cautious if we should ever do that again. But the COVID-19 crisis, I believe, creates a golden opportunity to rethink tourism for the future. For that reason, I further submit that the Tourism Authority, the Ministry of Tourism, and the government need to consider the long-term implications of the crisis and start promoting the structural transformation needed to build a stronger, more sustainable, and resilient tourism economy. The Chamber President, Giselle Matthew, could not have said it better when she said this, my straight talk family. Get to that. Give me 1 second, my straight dog family. Giselle Matthew said this.
Tourism, I think what COVID-19 has done is has made us all introvertly look outside at tourism in the long term. A more sustainable approach to that sector. A broader look. A tourist is not just someone who gets on a plane and is here for leisure or is on a cruise ship and here for the day on a tour. I think we need to look at the longer term stay over passenger who really brings quite a value to a 2-week stay. Or if they own a villa, or if they stay at a vacation club and they are using the taxis or a private car and they are moving around the island, what contribution do they bring to our economy? So we have to start to take a broader look at how do we view our long-term relationship with tourism.
Isn't that a prudent way forward? A long-term strategy So how do we view our long-term relationship with tourism? My straight dog family is another question I ask.
There is no other way out. And if there's a way out, please show me, because everything else that has been done before failed. And if we continue like this, I don't know what we're going to do, because there are businesses that are the anchor, and I need to say this, for tourism in St. Kitts. And if they do not survive, Sun, Sea and Sun is not sufficient in the competitive market to sell St. Kitts and Nevis. We need certain attractions to work.
But do we need more attractions? I hope not, like a Brimson Hill, a rainforest, or a scenic railway tour. But do we really need certain attractions to work? Or do we need to attract a diverse set of people and or attract different types of tourism? And yes, what are these different types of tourism? We can think of international tourism. That's what we are in, traditionally. We have seen and experienced a downturn in this international tourism, as the world is facing an unprecedented global health, social, and economic emergency with the COVID-19 pandemic. Travel and tourism is among the most affected sectors, with airplanes on the ground, cruise ships at anchorage or at berths, hotels closed down, and travel restrictions put in virtually every country around the world. What about medical tourism or medical health tourism? My straight dog family. Because tourism had or has a direct impact on every country's economy. A vast amount of jobs or job possibilities can develop, my straight dog family. What about educational tourism? One example is educational tourism, which has worldwide presence. The United States is ranked first with regards to education, as it provides and strives to maintain the best educational facilities, encourages educational tours, and spends on quality learning and research. The United Kingdom comes second, followed by Australia, Germany, France, and Japan, are also excelling in the educational tourism sector. But they face a major common problem, and that's the language barrier. Developing countries have shown reasonable growth in this sector. So why are we not focusing more on the further development of educational tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis? Surely it is Rush University School of Veterinary Medicine, the Windsor University, the Medical University of Americas and Nevis that is keeping our economy ticking. The educational tourism sector is booming worldwide and presents great business opportunities with the hotel sector and e-commerce. My straight dog family, international students, they visited friends and relatives and other edu-tourists make a significant contribution to the St. Kitts Nevis tourism industry. These students or educational visitors stay longer and spend more than leisure and business tourists. The educational tourism sector in St. Kitts Nevis, once better promoted, can become a big educational paradigm, adding value to society by increasing the level of education and generating new economic opportunities. And I'm sure Barry there at Boulder can tell you about that. Tonight is his karaoke night. All those students will be there. They make significant contributions to the economy through their expenditure on fees and living expenses, rent, and so on. They also contribute to tourism through domestic trips during their stays. They invite their family and friends to visit their studies. What about medical tourism I mentioned earlier? This is another area that must be considered as part of a necessary diversification in the tourism sector here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Many people have to travel for treatment. Several medical institutes cure foreign patients. Medical tourism generated billions of dollars in revenues in 2015 and was predicted to generate twice this amount of revenue by 2020. The market is growing rapidly as more people are becoming familiarized with medical tourism. The growing popularity has made it possible to study the industry more closely and give a precise viewpoint on upcoming trends. The Zion Market Research has published a new report titled Medical Tourism Market by Treatment Type: Cancer Treatment, Orthopedic Treatment, Fertility Treatment, Cardiovascular Treatment, Neurological Treatment, and others. Global Industry Perspective, a comprehensive analysis and forecast 2017 to 2024. According to the report, global medical tourism market was valued at approximately US $15.5 billion in 2017 and is expected to generate revenue of around $28 billion by the end of 2024. And that's growing at the rate of around 8.8% between 2018 and 2024. The research, I said, was done by the Global Zion Market Research by Straight Talk Family. Recent developments in data gathering and communication have also revealed only growth in this sector to a full extent. The American Journal of Medicine published a study report that says there are about 14 to 16 million medical tourists to all countries around the world, and foreign patients usually spend up to $6,000 on each trip, totaling up to $72 billion revenue generated by Straight Talk Family. The Cayman Islands is a good case study for us in St. Kitts Nevis. The Cayman Islands is a very good case study for us in St. Kitts and Nevis, my Straight Talk Family.
Welcome to Health City Cayman Islands, where it's our mission to deliver world-class health care that is both accessible and affordable. From the time you decide to travel to Grand Cayman for treatment, we have a dedicated international patient care team who will coordinate all of your travel needs, from passports to travel arrangements to accommodations and doctor's appointments. When you land in the Cayman Islands, we offer full concierge treatment. A Cayman Islands Airports Authority customer service representative will be waiting to escort you through immigration and customs. When you're finished at the airport, one of our Health City drivers will be waiting for you to transport you to the hospital located in the scenic and tranquil district of East End. The minute you arrive at Health City, your international patient care representative will be waiting for you with a smile and will assist you in checking you into our 104-bed state-of-the-art facility.
And that, in the Cayman Islands, is a good case study for those folks at tourism. I've raised the issue of diversification and the need for greatness on the sustainability of our product, and a qualitative rather than a quantitative base for tourism. We need to reset the clock and reboot tourism. The country needs to rely on tourism and not on tradition. Sun, sand, and beach are traditional. What happens, God forbid, if the scenic railway tour stops? Why is tourism seasonal? Why? The locals need a tourism economy that is open 24/7 for 365 days per year. What it does, or what does it take to achieve that? Over the years, tourism authorities in the Caribbean seem to have become comfortable promoting and marketing a high season and a low season. But one lesson that we must have learned from this pandemic is there must be a fundamental change in our strategy for tourism development. If there isn't a paradigm shift, I conclude that we won't have a high season, we won't have a low season, and I predict instead that we will have no season. We in St. Kitts Nevis boast that tourism is the mainstay of the economy. Yes, 25 or 30% of GDP. So why is this sector closed down for 5 or 6 months in the year? And taxi drivers and other workers in the tourism industry have no jobs. Why? So why don't you close down the tourism authority for 5 or 6 months as well? We in St. Kitts boast of the best soil in the Caribbean. Yes, La Amiga. That means fertile land. But you tell me now, 600 cruise ship calls annually, and not one ship can procure tomatoes, carrots, or potatoes, or other crops from the local farmers? What about this airline monopoly that seems to be sanctioned by the tourism authority and takes away the choice from everybody, from my choice and your choice? This one airline monopoly. These are just some of the policy issues that ought to be considered. And of course, the issues of health and safety as we look to rebooting and reopening our economy. That's rebooting tourism and reopening our economy. My Straight Dog family, we have to build resilience. And I suggest to you, the sustainable development of tourism must also involve the local people, not only in determining the form tourism should take, but also in controlling the ways income is derived from tourism and how it should be spent to benefit their communities. As long as local people see the benefits of tourism, they will become the most efficient guardians of their natural environment, their cultural heritage, and their country as a sought-after destination. My Street Dog family, I've tarried long. It's 8:41. I'll open the lines, and you may have your views on the way we should move forward and build resilience in this tourism industry. It's the mainstay of our economy. We have some other views as well. I'm sure you will have yours. My views are not absolute. But I'll open the lines in a few seconds. And I always like to implore you, when I do so, I anticipate that you will respect others. And to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to our concern. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let's ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and doing those things, let us strive to build kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, my Straight Dog family, the lines are open. The numbers to call, again, are 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Gavian Queen, and sing a blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you, the family?
Peaceful, my brother. We are Wonderful. What about you and your family?
Good, man. Good, brother. Good. Giving thanks. Now, beloved brother, well said, beloved. I must agree with almost everything you said, brother. Because, brother, some people, just run their mouths. If you're going to say something about it, make sure you have a solution for that problems, beloved. What the hell the Ministry of Tourism was doing for over a year? All of them getting paid, beloved. What were they doing? They didn't coming up with plans, and like you rightfully said, come on, this nonsense tourism, just, like 4 or 5 solid months or so, beloved. That's thing of the past. That's old-time thinking, backward thinking. We have agriculture there, but we could do a lot of things. The music industry, we could do that. We didn't have to have one festival. We got December, but not the music festival alone. We could get other things, beloved. Other things. I know the new minister of agriculture is showing his best. But my brother, my problem is that. More money need to be pumped into agriculture. And like you rightfully said, come on, you can tell me, with all those tourist ships that are coming in, we can have some kind of contract with them. So our farmers on St. Kitts Nevis, they produce high quality. We got some of the best soil on the planet, beloved brother. Some of that cantaloupes, watermelon, and different things. But come on, man. But these people is doing. But before Lindsay, and that was Lindsay Grant, right? But Patches.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, but I don't care who say thing about, but Brother Nabu said as it is. Brother Grant, before you come in and talking nonsense, everybody have a right to talk. But if you have some kind of idea, why you come out, do that in cabinet. Talk to your colleagues in cabinet about that. Don't come outside and run your mouth. Come on, man. You're supposed to be better than that. Then if what you say in cabinet and your cabinet colleagues come around and them thing and the prime minister, then you could come outside and say what you got to say. But this some divide and thing, I don't want to hear that, brother, because, brother, we can't afford to go back to the boy from St. Paul's and his minions, beloved. But we need to do better in our spheres of life, but especially tourism, and we need to diversify our economy, beloved. We have a lot of things that we can use there. We don't need anybody advice. We have brilliant young people, brilliant elders, and middle people, middle of the road. But why not use them? Why we got to always go outside and bring somebody who ain't look like us, pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars? Come on! This crap got to stop, man. We got to come together and do what we have to do so this economy rebound, beloved brother. But not do it the old time way. Them days are done. Them days of doing that is already done. Okay. It got to be a new dispensation, my beloved brother. But I continue to listen. Pan-Africanism and perish. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my brother. You're so correct. We have to promote tourism, but it can't do the things the same old way. Caller, you're live.
Good night, Patches. Good night to the ambassador out there. Good night.
Good night, my brother.
Patches, this is my opening statement on any radio talk show now. Because what I see going on out there in all parts of the world, with different countries, got to suffer the cause because of this corona. I want to thank God for a leader like us, Dr. Timothy Harris and his cabinet, continue to manage this powerful COVID in this small nation. We're destroying so much people in this big in these big countries and different parts of the world. But we got to thank God. And all the naysayers who going on different radio station and talking, they're only talking because of their personal problems. They ain't love this country. They just about themselves and everything. When I listen to some former ministers talking about the CPL and who going to benefit from the CPL and who not going to benefit from the CPL. When he was in government, the situation wasn't like this because we are in that world pandemic and we wasn't getting nothing at all from he. In strengthening the economy of the country, how this Prime Minister now is doing with the cabinet and the men them surrounding him. So parties people will talk. And so all kind of negative things about whatever going on in this country or whatever. We got to try things. We got parties, we got to try things. We got to try things. All kind of people going on from different way to talk show. Criticizing, saying all kind of things. But I wish there was in the footstep or the position of a Dr. Harris, because I know plain, none of them could have done what Dr. Harris is doing. All kind of leaders calling Dr. Harris from different countries and ask him how we get this done. These big countries, these huge countries, ask him how we get it done. But Patches, my mother used to always tell me, when people turn ungrateful to you, it was in witchcraft. So let go ahead. Patches again, I want to thank God for this Prime Minister we got in this country and his cabinet. They're putting up a good fight to this corona and doing what they're supposed to do to kill corona to sink it. And with the vaccine situation, the people go out and do what they got to do. Patches with God bless this federation and sink it Nevis. Or you ain't got to study not one of them. Because not one of them Patches could maneuver and maneuver and talk like me. And the people in this federation respect me. People in this, but they also respect me. And a lot of them just call me and tell me that are doing good for the country. May spreading the propaganda in the country. Patches, you have a wonderful night, God. If I get back, I get back.
Have a wonderful night as well, my dear brother. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Very blessed evening to you, my dear brother, and to all your listeners everywhere. I would like to touch a little bit on the agricultural situation. I hope you would also indulge me a couple of minutes to touch on another issue which you were in charge of when you were the Minister of Public Utilities / Public Infrastructure. With respect to the agriculture... Yes, go ahead.
Let's be guided by the rules of brevity.
Yes, I will. I will do my utmost. Okay. Yeah. With respect to agriculture, and you mentioned that Lamia means fertile soil. I think that it would be good if the more agricultural cooperatives can be formed throughout the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So you have more persons involved in agriculture. And more financial resources should be pumped into agriculture because the lands are available. If you look around St. Kitts, there are quite a lot of arable lands that were used to cultivate sugar cane. So a lot of those lands can be used to increase the agricultural output of St. Kitts. And I think if more cooperatives are formed and more persons get involved in agriculture, St. Kitts can, in fact, become more self-sustainable agriculturally. And what you can do when you have the reopening of the borders with the cruise ships coming, you can actually marry agriculture with tourism. And I think that will be a wonderful marriage indeed. With respect to the issue that I mentioned, when you were the Minister of Public Utilities / Public Infrastructure, and you did such a wonderful job with the construction of the West Line bus terminal, I think there was a slight oversight in that no CCTVs, that closed-socket televisions, were installed at the West Line bus terminal as we have at the East Line bus terminal. So I think that is something that the authorities should look closely at and ensure that CCTVs are installed everywhere around the West Line bus terminal so we can see whatever illicit and illegal activities that take place there. Because, for instance, the East Line bus terminal is well covered with CCTVs. And we have a lot of bus drivers who do not want to comply with the rules. They do not want to adhere to the statutes. That's the laws. They do not want to follow the rules at all. And they do not want to abide by the laws and the rules, the guidelines that are laid out for us to operate at the West Line bus terminal. And it is so unfortunate because I've seen it work in St. George's, Grenada, whereby there are dispatchers. There are dispatchers and the buses are loaded alternatively and in order. And I believe also that, even a toll can be charged, a $2 toll. Every time a bus returns to the terminal in St. George's, a $2 toll is paid for the maintenance, the upkeep of the terminal, to pay security, to pay dispatchers, and so forth. And that can be done both at the East Line and West Line bus terminals here. And I believe that if the bus drivers follow the rules and stick to the regulations, we can have much better operations at both terminals. I'm going to leave it here. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you. And the legislation do speak to dispatchers, and that's not a good point at all. But the issue of the CCTV cameras is something that one has to look at. Thank you, my brother. It's now 4 before 9 o'clock. I go straight back to the lines. Call your line.
Good evening, Catches. How are you this evening, sir?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Great. Hanging in there. Hope all is well with you.
Most things.
Yeah. It's always going to be most things. This thing with the pandemic, first of all, like I say, Dr. Harris have done a good job so far, but we're going to see what happens when the place opens up. Okay? Now, another thing you guys have to do, nobody must be pressured to take the jab. None. Because what is happening now, they're making it political. So you listen to these radio stations, all of them, they're saying they're against the jab. If the people want the jab, they take it. They don't, because it's becoming political, and what it's going to do is going to hurt unity, and it's going to hurt that time. You cannot force people. I was talking to someone national, and they went to national, and they gave him a job, and he wasn't that interested in the job, but he took it. So it's going to turn the people against you all, okay? Encourage them, but if they don't want it, you cannot force a man to take no kind of job, okay? You have to do with democracy and freedom of... It cannot be done, because you gotta remember, these people that don't care about a job, none. They're into politics. If Douglas was there, they would be standing up. That's how, our people think. They don't have... Now, another thing, keep talking about all this agriculture. They've been talking about it for 100 years. Agriculture, this. But they do none. You got to understand, the men in Sinkits and a lot of the women too have become lazy. They don't care about that. Because you all give them everything. They become a lazy people. They don't want to work. Look, the black men have the greatest opportunity in America and Sinkits and the country of Sinkits and Nevis. Greatest opportunity. All they like to do is sit and complain. And that radio station there, that freedom, it will bring a lot of destruction to Sinkits. A lot of destruction. All it is about is confusion and botheration. Listen to me, I came into Sinkits one time, couple of years, And the thing I hear them talking, it sounds like Al-Qaeda radio. So with that, and you got some people there, they call them Yale or whatever, right there outside the old Royal Bank of Canada, blocking off the whole sidewalk, talking garbage. Most of these people are ex-criminals who are deported. Some of them don't even seem like they're from Sinkits. Now, I know one person, he was in jail in Canada. He wear a dress, the Muslim dress.
Okay.
Go down to Trinidad, say go to Trinidad for training. I'm telling you, Sinkits is going to get named a terrorist island. Okay, Sinkits, a terrorist nation for the things that's going on in Sinkits. You all going to have to have people to check on these people. Because Sinkits is losing it. I've lost it. There's work, there's food, they're well off in Sinkits. But you all have got, but this thing, do not force nobody to take no job. If they want to die, let them die. Want the people protect themselves, wear the mask and whatnot. But Sinkits is out of control. It's out of, and the organ has to deal with the corruption that happened under the Denzel Douglas Nassy. Unity is not dealing with it. You all know what went on under Doug. You know who all the thieves were. You have to hold that down. Otherwise, all that big talk was all talk. Okay? But so far, you're doing good, really, you know. You best with it, but you cannot force anybody to take no job. This is being done.
I got you,
okay? Anyhow, we'll talk some more again, Pastor. There's nothing we want but now. But you all have to talk about the people who robbed them, stole under the Denzel Douglas Mafia. You all know who they are, okay? This is not South Africa. South Africa, after apartheid ended, the black men start teaching and robbing, they're breaking the white man. Please come back and take us. Let us go back on that apartheid.
Okay, my brother, I got you.
Okay, we're more going to come sometime, Patrick, but all the best to you, and you're doing a good job. Hang in there, Patrick.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother. Let's, my Stray Dog family, let's be guided by the rules of brevity. Let's try and use 2 minutes. Quite a lot of callers want to get in. Remember, we are discussing the issue of tourism, building resilience in tourism. Why? In this day and age, our tourism has to be seasonal. 5 months or 6 months you lock down, 6 months you're on. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd. How are you this evening?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. Mr. Liburd, my mother and grandmother still lives in St. Kitts. My mother sent me to the United States for school. And unfortunately, after 10 years of education, I am unable to return to the country of St. Kitts. Mr. Liburd, as you said, I live in Orlando now. And as you said, we have been impacted drastically due to tourism. And Orlando has shut down Disney World and many tourism destinations. But I work in the medical field, and we still have a lot of people traveling from upstate New York down to Orlando for reconstruction surgeries. This has saved our business and our practice. Mr. Liburd, my mother worked in the tourism industry as a maid at one of the largest hotels, and my grandmother worked in the fields, in the sugar fields for years. And my grandmother and mother worked very hard to send me off to school. Unfortunately, if, as you proposed, we had that, I would be able to return home. It does not make sense for a country such as St. Kitts to rely on tourism only. What about us? What about the youth that we cannot return home? We do not have the jobs, even though we have the education. Why must St. Kitts only be known, or Kittesians only be known as maids and farmers, when there are so many of us that are educated, that are willing to work? And that's my thought for tonight. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you for your input. Some very provocative thoughts, stimulative thoughts, I should say, because I am aware that, yes, we move from one crop, sugar cane, into tourism, and there's quite a lot of views. But I'll get back to that. Let me go to the lines. I'll come back to that. Caller, you are live. Are you there, caller? Okay, we seem to have lost the caller. But as we said, and we, in the event of just join us, matter of fact, my straight dog family, we are looking at the need to reset the clock and reboot tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have to move away, and we have, first of all, to look at our long-term relationship with tourism. And the president of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce put it right, my straight dog family, when she said this.
Tourism, I think what COVID-19 has done is has made us all introvertly look outside at tourism in the long term. A more sustainable approach to that sector, a broader look. A tourist is not just someone who gets on a plane and is here for leisure, or is on a cruise ship and here for the day on a tour. I think we need to look at the longer term stay over passenger who really brings quite a value to a 2-week stay, or if they own a villa, or if they stay at a vacation club and they are using the taxis or private car and they are moving around the island. What contribution do they bring to our economy? So we have to start to take a broader look at how do we view our long-term relationship with tourism.
And that caller just now made a very good point. It was rather instructive. I remember it was I'm trying to remember his name. It was Louis Farrakhan. Some years ago, he told his audience in his usual eloquent style, the audience in St. Kitts, and these were his words: a nation should have tourism, but tourism must never be what you depend on because you make your people only servants of others who come to enjoy rather than to make a sizable contribution. C.M. Hall described third world tourism as a form of imperialism, a version of economic dependency, and a new type of plantation economy in his book, Tourism and Politics, Policy, Power and Place. And those were his words. And that's exactly what this lady seemed to have been talking about. But let's go back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller. Okay, we seem to be missing these calls. Don't know what's going on. But the questions we're asking, my straight dog family, and as I said from the beginning, that on Straight Talk we talk the truth. And in the event of just join me, I introduced my program as this big labor friend of mine just kept badgering me about I am being afraid and I'm being biased. I never try to be biased. I always try to be objective. And he called me again yesterday, thinking no doubt he's bothering me. And I'm not easily bothered. And persistently he went on and on without stopping. Over and over he relentlessly tried to convince me that I'm afraid to play some sound bites for some silly reasons he gave. And one of the sound bites he accused me of being afraid to play was this one, my straight talk family.
I believe if I jump up on the cabinet's desk anymore, they'll break it down. But just like private businesses are struggling and on the verge of collapse, government is also pressured. SCASFA, which I have the opportunity to lead at this moment, 327 employees, paid in them over a year. We are on the verge of no money because our funds are generated from crews and our funds are generated from the airport. We haven't seen money in the coffers for over a year, like some of the private businesses. So we too are also suffering. That businesses are on the verge of collapse because of their financial difficulty. And that is why 2 weeks ago I went to the Prime Minister and said, Mr. Prime Minister, we need to do something. The country is dying. I said that to him. And the reason why it's dying. And what we have to do. Yes, I could understand the science, etc., but we had to do something to balance the science with economics.
The other sound bite was this one, my straight talk family.
Hoping that a post-mortem be done on our situation here, and to look at ways that we can garner ideas and support from the very people who are sitting in this room. I sat in hospital a month ago with a stroke, not understanding why I had it. It stresses me to know and understand that why is our minister not beating down cabinet's door to try to get financial support? An injection, yes, we talk about the injection of the vaccine, but an injection for finance. Businesses, taxi drivers, restaurant cooperators who are about to close down. We have a fund, hundreds of millions of dollars, CBI, that can be used to offer some sort of support. We need to use it, because if not, half of us are going to close down. Mr. Minister, if you can go to cabinet, jump up and down on that table and said to the finance people, bring us some relief. It is needed.
Well, my straight talk family, as I said, and I'll say again, the economy, the country of St. Kitts Nevis is alive and tourism is not dead. We just have to change the way we promote tourism. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, Patches, good night, Megan. Politics.
Yes, sir.
Patches, you see, people like me who come from the ordinary source, like come out the construction and come out the sugar industry and come from the livestock farming, come from gong farming. If I got to put myself as a candidate in election, nobody gonna vote to me. You understand, Patches? And I got the idea. And these man with the brilliancy and see what's going on in the world and coming on and starting out the talking. But I want to let them know that is a man with financial management, and he know how to control any government he into at any part of the world. You understand? This ain't like the past. So this government ain't have no money to give to nobody. Just like that, just so. When they got, let them use up some of the private money where they got, because they got money to run the business until when everything over. I can't understand people, black people. That's why country end up like how we end up. Because if the government use taxpayers' money to help them, and some of them cheat the workers them so bad. Up to now, some people, because of the how they cheat, how they pay the social security and do what they got to do. That's why some of the workers then can't get the severance pay. I come in and chat in our them rubbish about minister must jump up on table and all kind of thing. Jump up on table where? But it's a thing, you know. And we not deal with them nonsense that me come out of the sugar industry, me work hard. Right now me going back into going farming. Me got me animals them still. And me surviving. And listen now, if a lot of these men who in the tourism patches try to do what me and others do, because a lot of them is trade man in India, they no construction, they could go back in the construction thing. Me say I meet a guy up there must yesterday self, up that lot house, up on the area, laying out the house. And a lot of them in the taxi thing, that a lot of construction going on right now, a lot of building, in spite of the COVID. I don't know what happened to us. All of us, we come to prejudice, we ain't want to do this, we ain't want to do that. People, let me tell you something, right? We cannot afford, government cannot afford to pump the money into the business, occupy the workers. This is a doctor of God send this man there, Dr. Harris, to control our finance in this country. And that's why the country going so great in this fight of the COVID. Patches have a wonderful night, God bless. You know, I come with our ignorance.
Have a wonderful night.
Patches.
Yes, my dear.
Patches.
Yes, Yolanda.
When Mr. Grant saying that the port are under struggle, we hear he put somebody who got money to be big chairman and got money. Hearing all of that. He think he's Sega? Boy going up on table? He always like table. Okay then.
Thank you very much, Caller. We go back to the lines. Call your line.
Yeah, just me quickly, Patches, for my second go on and the last, of course. What's happening? No, you see, India is doing it, and the Philippines. They have a lot of companies in the United States that they have people by phone help desk. Why nobody's talking about this? Why are they stuck on this tourism stuff? I mean, come on, tourism is a very fickle business. It doesn't take much to destroy tourism. They're just sitting there and just waiting for tourism. What tourism? Get up off your butt and do other things. Go and get these companies in America to open help desk in the country of Nevis. Let them open up the help desk. People make good money like that in India and China. Send our people away to China. A lot of these young guys, they know technical stuff. Train them. And all this tourism is not going to be the same way it was. It's not going. Our people have to change. Look into government for handout. Our foreparents do that. Your grandmother, my grandmother didn't do that. They wasn't depending on the government. Get up and do something for yourself, okay? And like I tell you, the country of Nevis is going to get labeled a terrorist nation because you have people sitting up there in front of Royal Bank, blocking off the sidewalk, talking garbage about white man. It is 90% black or maybe more. What do you want about white man? Thank God for slavery. Say thank God for slavery. They say it all over America. You could be in Africa where the African is cutting off little baby's neck and baby's hand. You all better say thank God for slavery. Get with it, okay? Stop being stupid. Sitting there, you can starve yourself to death. Go and look for other ways around things, man. Okay? Do like India and China. Get technical people to get on the phone and you can make money that way. Please. And unity has to clean itself up because you know who the thieves and liars from the Douglas Mafia Labour Party war. They must go to jail or I think it's finished. Have a good evening, sir.
Have a good evening as well. My dear brother, we go straight back to the lines.
Good night,
Call your
Mr.
line.
Patches. I won this country in 2013 about the failing tourism industry, right? And nobody listened to me. I said that my brother in 2015, when Unity get in, nobody listened to me. So now the country suffering, now everybody running up and down, I want the country about it. And find new ways that mean I'm making money for the country. Nobody listened to me. But it's alright. My God is immature.
So what would you suggest in place of tourism?
What I suggest in 2013 is find a new industry to get money to run the country. You cannot rely on tourism. Tourism one day will fail. I see it. That one day tourism will fail this country. Get a new industry to run the country. But nobody listen to me. Everybody say, oh, we can't get the industry in this country. I got bright, brilliant young people in this country. And they sit down, and not try to get any industry up and running to run this country with money. And now the country run out of money, everybody running up and down. Okay.
Okay, got your point, my dear brother. Bright young people, you said. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Hey, Patrick.
So.
Patrick.
Yes,
you're
sir.
talking about tourism,
Turn your
right?
radio down. Turn your radio equipment down.
And you're talking about tourism. What's going on with the hotel down there when you're going to St. Paul? The Ramada Hotel.
The Ramada. Turn the equipment down, no? Turn the equipment down. I want to get the feedback.
Hold on. Yeah. The Ramada Hotel. You could give me some information about what's really going on down there? Because I see you go down there, go.
Well, that's something beyond me right now. I can investigate it and get back to you on it.
So Monday?
I will ask a question, yes.
Yeah, I'll give you some homework to do. So Monday, I always listen. So Monday I'm going to be listening.
Okay, my brother.
If you don't do your homework, you get licks, okay?
Okay.
All right, the man.
Okay, teacher.
All right.
Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Yes, good evening, Patches. I hear you talking about the tourism, but we need to get the tourism going, but you're always saying that we got to get the vaccination. But if we get the vaccination, some people's body can't really take it because some people got old blood, anti-blood and so. But what we want to know, if anybody had to dead, also, if I got in charge of people in the forces and to pay money, that people could take the vaccination then. So, I'm looking at what in the tourism, we ain't getting the boat to come. So, the taxi man them is bawling because they're saying that they ain't had the money to pay for the bus. So, why you are going to support them or whatever to give them? Because at the taxi stand, no money and everything and no job. So, please try to do something about it. See what I could do, I don't know. Because I want several times got charity per year. I don't give them $50,000 in the hand. So have a good night and thank you. Now because you ain't giving me not calling and it's just see you, me holding up the body time. See you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear. We go straight back to the lines. Call your line. Hello, caller.
Yeah, pleasant good night. The other day I was lying down on my bed and I was saying to myself, when the Prime Minister was giving out this $500 in the square, he had a speech. Did I record these speeches, right? I think they record his speech. I think you need to revisit.
Yes, to do.
I think you need to revisit what he said on that day in the square. If I could recall, those those $500 was for single family, not single, but family, which usually was for $500 per family. And as far as I know, even in my area, I know there are households getting $300 and $400 and $500 separate. So I think they need to go back to the drawing board, see who are in these houses getting this kind of money. That is some kind of thing like that, I think too much of people got the money that shouldn't be getting it. And some of them are boasting, and they have a good job and getting the $500. It is out there in the public. A lot of people is doing it, and they're not 23, some 4 or 5 people getting one household getting $500. They need to take back in some of the money they're giving out, because it wasn't, according to his first initial speech, it wasn't supposed to be like that. He even said that there were going to be people assigned to different areas to make sure they check on these people to make sure they were doing good, and then take them off the program and introduce somebody else. And then again, in his budget speech, he did say that there was an extra 1,000-something people lined up to get it. I don't know if he boasted saying they was going to get it, because I don't think they get it. But you need to go back and rethink what went wrong in the past. I think there's too much people, they just say, fair share for all. From what I see, there's a fair share for all, friends and family and associates, and then they get a fair share. But they're still grabbing for more. The country is a little more concerned, the government and everything, with money. But there's the associates and the friends out there still grabbing to take more before they take a release on what they're getting already. Thank you very much.
Yes, every system, you do have abusers, and you ought to check that. It should be per household, you said. Not earning, accumulative earnings rather over $3,000. Caller, you're live. Thank you for holding.
What is that going to be quick? I'm a taxpayer in this country, right? And if I know that somebody, a family, 5 family in a home, get the $500, me gonna come on parade and talk about it. I've got investigated and got to keep it and report it. Because you're paying tax and it's unfair. So if that gentleman know that how much people in a home get it, he should come on, he should go and say something. You understand? You love your country. That is what I love my country, and I will do anything when I see wrong for my country. Speak out against whatever wrong.
Okay.
Okay then, Patches.
Thank you for your input. We go straight back to lines. Call your lives.
Patches, good night.
My dear brother, jam down.
How are you? How was Labor Day?
I am
Patches.
restful, man, restful.
Patches, that caller to you, according to politics, if he know such a thing happening in a home, and this is the problem with that in think it's with these people, they're seeing the wrong and supporting it. Go to the officials, don't afraid, go to the official. If you love the country, go to the official and speak. This is your country. Patches, I want to touch the tourism briefly, because when you start wrong, you must end up wrong. The injustice to Hillary Watley, it had to happen. They got to go about and talk stupidness. The tourism minister, anyone understand tourism? They don't understand the tourism. The tourism minister and Miss Brown, they don't understand the tourism. And when you start wrong, you must end up wrong. You must end up wrong. Miss Brown is so arrogant that people who know this trade and come up around the tourism, Patches over the years, that woman Hillary Watley in tourism with Arlie Buchanan and them. Even the dirtiest man on the road, round the bay, she will listen to. But we got a CEO. She's
This is Jamaica. But one, this is St. Kitts, And they're going to fall in line here. All of them. Because Jam don't even back down, Jam don't even back down. I was behind Kennedy Simmons for this. Supporting him when he went in First Caribbean Bank, Royal Bank, for the $49 million to reclaim this land. And I must talk in this country. Not one can hinder me from talking in this country. A warning to these people. And Giselle Brisbane. He got some man getting pension, reasonable pension. And they feel they're going to stay in the dark and draw money where they want to give the poor taxi man them, like business and other taxi man them who's scrabbling $20 a day, one for all the men. But nothing doing for them, a calling on the government to give the support through the chamber, give them the support, but make sure who getting pension the money for them. Because they could live. And some man playing smart. Because they got degree and Jam don't have none. Me degree on the waterfront and me dumb. You understand? Please, Mr. Prime Minister, if you're going to give stipend to the taxi men them, who seems to going through it very hard, make sure who getting big pension to Social Security and private pension from the big firm them in this country, no money for them. Give it to the small taxi man who's scrabbling to pay for the bus. Help them, they deserve help. Walford and others. Veteran, Porsche Taxi and others. Give them the help. Let people get big pension to the maximum amount of time and feel like they don't get money in the flat. Do not give them no money. Jam don't say that. And Miss Brisbane, I want you to make sure you know what you're doing when it comes to that deal. This ain't the time, I'm looking for this here a long time, but I didn't expect a pandemic was going to come. I was looking for some hurricane disaster and mash up the cruise ship that them. This tourism industry is very fragile. And we got to congratulate the government and even your patches who build the other wing down there. We have to give you some props. But when I look and see what's going on, we got people in tourism. They just walk out and talk to people. All of a sudden, the chest higher than Christina by Nevis. They're not walking think it's enough. Because I don't hear Jam now. But think it. We're going through a terrible time and we're going to get out of it. We will get out of it. I warning the people them to just be patient and do what you could do to help the country. When money was there, you get money. Don't play ungrateful and play like a lot of them in the circus bills in the government. When they full out the government. Be patient. It ain't everybody mouth and full and wide open so hungry. We got to look out for one another. Please have a good night. I will be back. Jacqueline, quite sure. Be strong. Just I will carry the weight for you. Have a good night, Patches.
Have a good night. My dear brother, always so passionate. Let's go back to the lines. At
Yeah, a pleasant good night.
Call your line.
Nobody has to report anybody. If the government interested in looking at it, they would do an autopsy on that program itself. There are a lot of programs that the government are paying out money they need to do an autopsy on. And that they don't need, because if money is being paid out, the account should be there and the name and who is going to and where the household will be. So that is something they need to look into, not wait for somebody to come tell them. Because if you're giving out money, you're supposed to know who and where you're going. Thank you.
So you're suggesting do some physical checks? Okay. Okay, that call is gone. Let's take this other call. Call you live.
Good night, Patches. How are you?
Good night, my brother. How are thou?
I am okay. Now, what prompted me to call 3 callers ago? What jam down and politics we're referring to. Let me say to jam down and politics. Long before team unity, people been complaining about a lot of other things. And the authorities hearing and they're doing nothing. So don't let them get down the man's throat, let he go complain. Complain to who? He complain, but nothing gonna be done. You think they don't know who gets in from who ain't getting? And who can afford from who can't afford? I don't support them with that go complain. Because people tired complaining. Long before team unity and up to this day, so I complaining. Jam down now he complaining too. And they hear enough, but they do nothing. So complaining don't make no sense. That's all I want to say.
Okay, Chukai, straight to the point. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line. Okay, this email reads, Mr. Are you crazy? Have you lost your... Have you left your mind in Africa? Patches, tourism dead in the Federation. We have a mongoose looking after the hen house. Patches, you know what I'm getting at. Good night and God bless. Read that email. I don't know what you're getting at. Speaking in parables. This email reads, St. Kitts has to build 4 to 7 floor high medical tourism hospital down at Diebe area with up to tourism of rooms with helicopter landing pads with 3 docking piers for mega ships, all to be built down at Diebe area. Also, you have to build a new airport catering only for that medical tourism, bringing doctors and nurses from Cuba, Argentina, Colombia, the US, Europe, Germany, Santo Domingo, etc. Yes, I always write to you on your program about this medical tourism. Patients from neighboring islands like St. Martin, Saba, Statia, Nevis, and Anguilla build something big so St. Kitts can accommodate the influx. Patches, we are backing you on this. St. Kitts can borrow the money. It will come back quickly. Thank you. Reads this email. It's 24 before the 10 o'clock hour. In the event you have just joined us, we are looking at the topic of tourism tonight, my straight dog family. But yes, we're looking at the topic of medical tour, not medical tourism, tourism. Should I say my straight dog family? But let me go back to the lines. I've been distracted just now. Forgive me for that. Let's say good night. Call your line.
Yes, very pleasant evening to you again, Mr. Liburd. I want to touch on the issue of migration. I think the people of the Federation need to be aware that migration...
Where you? Carlo?
Hello?
Carlo?
Yeah.
Where you want to digress each time you call?
Well, I will be very brief. I'm not going to take much time because it's an issue...
We were talking tourism.
Yeah, well, remember, migration is interconnected with, tourism is interconnected with migration. People travel from place to place.
Go ahead, Carlo. Go ahead.
All right? So I'm going to be very brief. I don't have much credit. I will be very brief. The point I want to make is that migration has always been a part of human culture, human history. And look at the United States, for instance, the great United States. The population of the United States is well over 300,000, and the majority of the people of the United States who make up that population were not born in the U.S. The original U.S. people came from the British Isles, and people have been moving from place to place, from country to country all the time. And generally, usually you find a lot of the people who go to different countries. Look, for instance, the Israelites. They went into Egypt and they helped build and develop Egypt. And you have cases where people would be using expressions like, you banged water to come here. What we who came here, like, for instance, I actually celebrated my 27th year in St. Kitts on the 2nd of this. I came here on the 2nd of May in 1994. And we contribute, right, to the development of St. Kitts. I have had a lot of opportunities here on St. Kitts. And I am grateful to St. Kitts for the opportunities that I have had. Opportunities such as becoming a cricket commentator. I wanted to do that in Grenada. I didn't get that opportunity. I have actually developed the ability to teach people to drive. I have taught many people to drive in St. Kitts. So I'm saying all of that to say that people need to recognize that people always move and will always move. That will never change. That has become and is an integral part of human history and human culture. So people need to appreciate people for who they are.
I think I got you.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. This email reads, Patches, educate your callers that you have a topic and they should call in and comment accordingly. You have a topic and they are discussing something else. Ask them to listen to the topic of the night. Thank you. That's some guidance from my email massive there. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Liburd. Yes, what I think, right, instead of, we have, like here, we have the Taiwanese where we go and we have a relationship with Taiwan, right? So we are talking about doing something different to tourism, or not just tourism, but, you know, the cell phones, you know, air conditioning units and stuff like that, big appliances and them kind of stuff. Every time you look on them, you see probably made in Taiwan or these kind of things. Instead of probably getting the Taiwanese or the Chinese here, you know, pulling off the place with supermarket and restaurant, and now they say they're going into hotel and stuff like that. Why not invite them to bring factories here that make cell phones, and because cell phone is the biggest thing probably in the world right now. You know, and you have people cell phone costing $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and them kind of thing. So why not, instead of when the government, you know, we go to Taiwan to look for help, why not we ask them for that kind of help, bringing factories here so that we could make things and we could send it back to Taiwan, and they could do the distribution of these things around the world, to their markets around the world, where we get money back from it, instead of they bringing in here, coming with supermarkets. The supermarkets that they're coming with, they're doing here, and not bringing in any foreign exchange. You're actually taking money from here and sending it out, because most of the products that they sell in the supermarket are from Taiwan and China. So instead of we giving them things to do, supermarket and restaurant and now hotels, they we get factories that build these appliances and stuff that I talk about just now. All right, good night. That's my input.
Simple but good points, caller. Yeah, you know, and what about call centers as well? You know, we have a lot of our young children who are so technologically savvy. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Thanks for having me.
Children who are so technologically.
Am I being heard?
Equipment on?
Okay.
Yes, you have your radio equipment on.
I will like, hold on a second. I would like to put my input in this thing here.
Thank you.
Tourism is not enough for St. Kitts. They need more ways and strategies to bring commerce in St. Kitts and Nevis. And the caller who called a while ago about
factories from like Taiwan and all those things. I think that will be an asset to the Federation to create jobs and everything that is fruitful. But you know the problem? There is not any good marketing ambassador incentive to market percentage to study and see what will be fruitful, that it could be beneficial to the country. I mean, you cannot just sit down and anticipate things gonna come like that. You gotta be proactive. Who has been proactive for St. Kitts? Who is going out to different countries and try to market strongly to bring your business to St. Kitts? I don't think anyone is doing that. You can't just wait for things to come. You got to go get it. You got to be a go-getter. You got to be aggressive and proactive. Who is doing that? So, tourism was it? Sugarcane used to be the thing, but there is no sugar now. And see what happened to tourism. Everybody is crying. So those who was dependent on tourism all the time, look what happened now. So what is next? We need proactive leadership. And leadership matters. The leadership has to direct a good team to be proactive for St. Kitts. Sales. Okay? Go to different countries and set up deals so that businesses can come into St. Kitts and you reap fruit from that. Proactive. Remember that word. The word for the day is proactive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, proactive. Yes, what about making St. Kitts a duty-free zone? Hello? Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Yes, me again, Mr. Liburd. We cannot just run away with tourism, you know, because tourism is probably the biggest market for all the countries in the world, you know. Even America, they depend heavily on tourism too, right? But one thing I think we could do with in terms of the tourism to kind of boost it and stuff like that. You know, I think you're in New York. It's in Penn Station, you know, before the pandemic, down Times Square. You have millions of people that go through those areas daily, even and riding on the trains and stuff. You have the thing in New York. I think it's Mission. I think in New York, right? What I think they need to be doing is to give kitty-shon. You have a lot of kitty-shons in things. Put out things where kitty-shon, you give them these leaflets for St. Kitts Nevis. And, you know, when they go on the buses and the train, you give them out to people. Down Penn Station, millions of people who come to Penn Station daily. You know, you give them out, you give out these leaflets to people. And you got other states, maybe in Florida and wherever kitty-shons are, you think these flyers and you give them out when they go on buses and when they go to different things and so you give them out because I used to be there and you see people coming on the train with leaflets, they put them down and people will take up, they read it and they might put it back down. People take up and they go with them. These are ways that they could do things to market the federation instead of just probably waiting for a boat to come and going to talk to these cruise ship companies and stuff, because these cruise ship companies, they're only about themselves. They're about themselves. They're not really concerned and care really about the countries, and they only come into the country and docking up because the people, their passengers want to come and see the island, so that's why they're docking up. But differently, if they did not do that, they just sail around the Caribbean and don't really dock up to the Caribbean. Because when they come here also, they think they kind of get the passengers to spend as less money as possible because they got this stuff on board too. So I think we need to these latter ambassadors and consulates and so we have in the States and Canada and England. I think we need to start going that way. Get in flyers, get the people, the kitty-shon and Nevis was there, and give them to them, send them to them, and then even if you have to give them something, send the flyers and stuff to them, and they will when you go out, you give them out to people. I believe that is a better way of selling the country than going to these airlines and these cruise lines and having things with them. Anyway, thanks again for listening.
Thank you very much, caller.
There is no other way out. And if there's a way out, please show me, because everything else that has been tried before has failed. And if we continue like this, I don't know what we're going to do, because there are businesses that are the anchor, and I need to say this, for tourism in St. Kitts. And if they do not survive, Sun, Sea and Sun is not sufficient in the competitive market to sell St. Kitts and Nevis. We need certain attractions to work.
And we're not saying to get rid of tourism. We are saying to diversify it, expand it. Caller, you're live.
Patches, I was the caller before that caller just spoke. I will second that, because it seems like we are in co. And I don't even know him and he don't even know me. Listen, yes, tourism is important to everywhere. People will always migrate and visit short time, long terms. And like the caller said, you need to have marketing strategy. Okay? It will be good if I am a Kittitian. I am a damn good salesman. I am a good marketer. I am a proactive people. I don't afraid to speak and announce what product I have. In order to boost tourism some more, plus, hire some people to do marketing, not just advertise over the media. What you need physical, upfront, and personal. Markets and kits. That's what needed to help the taxi people and all who provide for tourism. You need some good marketing people. England, wherever interest might be, where Kittitians are, advertise your country. And every country can do that for their own country. But let's speak about St. Kitts. For tourism to go to the next level, you got to market. You need people to market. The ambassador could be the head of the marketing team. Hello?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can ask.
You don't need the ambassador. You need tourism people to do that. But why do you think tourism is seasonal?
Not to interject. Yes, when I'm saying ambassador, I'm talking about you need people to be ambassadors for St. Kitts, to market St. Kitts, market the product that we have and we think will be fruitful. So it's not the ambassadors.
Oh.
That's what I'm talking about.
I got you.
Like me, I could be an ambassador to market St. Kitts. John could be an ambassador to market St. Kitts in England and wherever there is benefited. So we'll take it to a next level. I mean, go on.
Yeah, you sound like you'll be a good ambassador, but the locals need a tourism economy that's open 24/7, 365 days a year. Why should in this day and age we have seasonal tourism? What do you think about that?
I'm missing the last two sentences in that what you said. Could you reiterate?
Yeah, I was asking why should in this day and age we have seasonal tourism? You know, a taxi driver just gets 5-6 months a year and he has to sit down. And it has to be something in the past. What do you think?
Well, I think as long as a man have a career, the tourism in St. Kitts is only seasonal, 6 months. Okay?
Why?
But tourists will, I don't know, tourists will be all the time. Because does it go by the season here? Winter. Everyone will be glad to get away from winter. Okay? The Caribbean is the attraction when it's winter here. Okay? I myself would like to be away from here for winter. I am a Kittitian, like I said. I would like to come as a tourist because I'm only gonna come for a short period. Spend some money, go back. But I can't speak for when season is out and how tourism gonna be 365. So that will up to the person who is in that industry. when tourism season is not fruitful, try to find something else that will be beneficial. So I don't believe in one skill. I believe in multitask. So that's all up to the person who is in that industry or whatever industry. But all I can tell you, tourism to another level, since that is the dependent, you have to think of strategies, how to be on top ahead of the game. Because you can't wait for seasons. That's
okay.
the best I could answer right now.
Got you, my brother.
I believe a good salesman will do a good job, because it's all about sales, not just sit down and wait for things. You've got to be proactive, go-getters, set up a team, set up approved people, and you cannot anticipate. You could predict that this is what you will like to produce. Probably might be bigger than you anticipate, but it's a chance that we should take, because what else is there? Tourists or tourism, but it's all come under marketing.
Okay. I think I got you loud and clear, my brother. Thanks for your input. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Patches dumpling. Patches, I want you to put up the tape for me. When you start, both jumping up on the table. Play it for me. And so I won't come back and say what I have to say. Because, you see the two monkey, eh? You see the two monkey laughing. Laughing after me, but it's okay. Play back the tape for me, dumpling. Somebody can make a calypso for me for Thursday night. This is dumpling, Patches. See you.
Okay. Okay. Lydia Manners. Dumpling Manners. Short and sweet. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Good night, Patches. I guess you all think you all have tourism seasonal, but you won't believe what the gift you all got right now. When down in Virgin Islands we have tourism, we have like ships flow, saying it's booming. You all have music sets going, you all have cricket. So it looks like you all have you are doing something you all don't realize what you all are doing. You have a perfect plan that it seems like you all have tourism all year round in all your season. So I guess some people not into tourism don't understand how this thing works, but tourism is one of the biggest things right now within the Caribbean. I'm not saying farming is not a good idea, it's a good idea, but I think it's one of the top right now, tourism right now. I mean, you have a music fest, you have a cricket, when one thing out and next thing cut in. I mean, like, hey, I gotta give you your ace of spade, man. I think you are doing the best right now.
Thank you. Yes. And you're so right, my caller. What we're saying, we should look at other types of tourism. We mentioned the educational tourism. We do have the Ross University. We have the Windsor. And we can get more schools or increase the population in those schools as well. And that can assist. Also, what about the farmers getting their produce to these cruise ships? And that can help the economy as well. Caller, you're live.
Patches, this is Jam down here.
So,
Patches, you know,
yes, Jam.
You know Lachlan, and his sister, the one who used to speak this other language, who market with tourism, so successful from Simmons era, come right back up till we lend this bad man we country and he mash it up. These were the people, these people who said they're running tourism, was to clear unto them like a sparrow in Clanara for guidance. You can throw it tourism in people's hand who ain't understand the landscape, I think it. We know what talking is all about, you know. We know these people just full of talk. I want to say, Bob, the guy who does move the tourists from the ship out to the shops them from Port Zante. He make a very important point tonight, Patches. And I hope you were listening to him very carefully. We have to move to all these coastlets around the island to sell the tourist industry and get in touch with the locals them who in this area, Canada, New York, England, France, and we get them to sell the country. You can't just leave it on a CEO with all kind of big talk. You hear them? You hear them now in a COVID time? They don't know what to do. You hear them words. They don't know what to do. Come on. Before we get it to where we know. He had people know where they wanted to go. Hillary Watley, Lachlan Richards, Richie and others, Michael Powell and others. Come on. But when you start wrong, you got to end up wrong. When you start wrong, you must end up wrong. They push all these people aside, put them over canary dumb. People mean well to the country. Look at Lachlan. Look at Lachlan Richards where he go over in Boardwalk. Look at Lachlan, a born petition, a poor man, come from Town. Look at Lachlan Richards. Look where he go over there. These is people who build Sinkage tourist industry. And man come and push them aside. And I lift up other people. Have a good night, Patches. See you when I see you. This is Jam down here talking. I didn't dress in back with Simmons, you know. I fight for this here. I fight for this. And I must talk. Have a good night, Patches, my brother.
Have a good night, Jam down. My brother, we go back to the lines. Call your line.
Patches, good night. Wow. It hot tonight. Everything was said is true. Yes, Mr. Patches, why you calling to say, I do not like how this $500 really going. Right? People coming in, people getting the money and still get social. What is wrong? The economy going down, the Prime Minister trying to keep up in a kind of way, but they need to stop the people money who still getting social. And who getting picking up rent and all them deal. They need to stop.
I got you.
I don't know who was looking this money.
Yeah, I heard you loud and clear.
How can our people?
I heard you loud and clear.
It's not right.
Okay.
They need to look into it, man. Too much household wants to get it.
Okay, we got you loud and clear. Thanks for your input.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, dear Patches. How are you doing, man?
Good evening, my lord.
Yeah, I thought that we had a good cross-section of ideas this evening. I just thought I should call in and maybe support some of these suggestions that came through. And I think that he made a very good point. Basically, what I think is needed is really diversification, of course. And we need to get a plan and a vision going forward. Because, like, I think the callers before me mentioned about sports, education, we talk about health and wellness, the agro, business and seminars, conferences, you know. And, you know, we have to look at the overall diversification of tourism, which I think is the way to go because it's very competitive. And if we don't have that unique, you know, niche that can take us all year round, I think we're going to be falling behind, you know. So I just want to echo those words tonight. I really think that we really need to really look at it and move forward, you know, in that area. I think the agro area is a very, very strong area. The health and wellness is another strong area, you know. And these areas I think is very, very beneficial to really keep tourism going all year round if we have proper planning, the vision going forward. That's basically what I wanted to add tonight.
Very good points, caller. Thank you.
Hoping that.
Yes, caller.
Patches.
Yes, sir.
Martin. This is the first time calling into this program, Patches. I think somebody made a point that is very good. The thing is that, you know me well, we used to travel along with the Ministry of Tourism from the taxi point of view. And we've gotten some smart people now running the tourism industry and shove all the taxi drivers apart. The same point that one person make about pamphlet. We used to do that, but because we got some brilliant educated people running the tourism industry, shove everybody who knows what they're doing away, and they begin to do it. That's what is the big problem, you know. That's the big problem in the tourism industry that we got too much smart people, too much brilliant people, and they shove everybody who knows, and they know. We travel all around the place. You know that we used to travel back and forth with the ministry from tourism as taxi people. That gone down the drain because we got brilliant people with good idea, and that's one of our biggest problems. We got. Good night.
Good night, President Martin. Yes, we traveled far and wide. Many times the Taxi Association was represented. I remember the taxi associations had the opportunity to speak directly to the cruise ship operators, but as you said, that was in the past. Things are different now. But my Straight Dog family, my time is done. I'll take this final call. Are they caller?
Yes, I am here. I forgot to mention too, Patrick. It's not an area that I think is very, very useful. We need to target market, eh? In certain areas that we don't hear anything about Sinkers, and we hear Jamaica and Barbados and stuff like that. We're not hearing a lot about Sinkers in certain parts, even in North America, Western Canada, for an example. You know, I tried to do some work up there at one time, and I wasn't getting too much support from that standpoint. But you never hear too much about it, and all over West Vancouver and so forth. We have quite a number of tourists really want to come to St. Kitts, you know, the western part of the country. You know, I mean, I really believe that we need to target market and then, you know, let it ring out about what's going on and what you have to really think of. So I just wanted to add that to my little 2 cents I gave previously. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Perhaps. Let's take this final call.
Patrick, let me tell you something. People need to pray that this COVID over and done with, because some of us say we are Christian, some of us say we serve God, some of us say we serve this, some of us serve this and serve that. We need to pray. That is support this COVID and over. And tourists can't come here. What they will do? What government will do? What these taxi drivers will do? We got to find mean and different ways to find different things, Patrick. We used to have sugar industry was the main industry. Sugar. We got our photos here. Let me start to try something. Try something. People. Go into the government and get land. Let them empty land up on the place. Plant food. Let the government find somewhere to distribute their food in different countries. You understand? We cannot think about tourists, and you hear the pandemic out there. When they come in, when you look, the whole country break out with things, that's like St. Martin and Anguilla and all those other countries. Man, we got to be real. All right, Patrick, you have a wonderful night. May God bless the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. May God bless you. Culture, good night.
God bless you. Bless you as well. I keep saying my final call. This is. Okay? But that's the way we got to end it, because the mayor from St. Paul's is in the house, and I've encroached on some of his time. He's got his vinyl records, oldie goldies, so don't you move your dial. We looked at tourism tonight, and someone asked me to play this, and I always give my Straight Dog family whatever they need.
Hoping that a post-mortem be done on our situation here, and to look at ways that we can garner ideas and support from the very people who are sitting in this room. I sat in hospital a month ago with a stroke, not understanding why I had it. It stresses me to know and understand that why is our minister not beating down Cabinet's door to try to get financial support? An injection, yes, we talk about the injection of the vaccine, but an injection of finance. Businesses, taxi drivers, restaurant tour operators who are about to close down. We have a fund, hundreds of millions of dollars, CBI, that can be used to offer some sort of support. We need to use it, because if not, half of us are going to close down. Mr. Minister, if you can go to cabinet, jump up and down on that table and said to the finance people, bring us some relief. It is needed.
I believe if I jump up on the cabinet's desk anymore, they'll break it down. But just like private businesses are struggling and on the verge of collapse, government is also pressured. SCASFA, which I have the opportunity to lead at this moment, 327 employees, paid in them over a year. We are on the verge of no money because our funds are generated from cruise and our funds are generated from the airport. We haven't seen money in the coffers for over a year, like some of the private businesses. So we too are also suffering. That businesses are on the verge of collapse because of their financial difficulties. And that is why 2 weeks ago I went to the Prime Minister and said, Mr. Prime Minister, we need to do something. The country is dying. I said that to him. And the reason why it's dying. And what we have to do. Yes, I could understand the science, etc., but we had to do something to balance the science with economics.
There is no other way out. And if there's a way out, please show me, because everything else that has been tried before has failed. And if we continue like this, I don't know what we're going to do, because there are businesses that are the anchor, and I need to say this, for tourism in St. Kitts. And if they do not survive, Sun, Sea and Sand is not sufficient in the competitive market to sell St. Kitts and Nevis. We need certain attractions to work.
Tourism, I think what COVID-19 has done is has made us all actually look outside at tourism in the long term. A more sustainable approach to that sector. A broader look. A tourist is not just someone who gets on a plane and is here for leisure or is on a cruise ship and here for the day on a tour. I think we need to look at the longer term stay over passenger who really brings quite a value to a 2-week stay. Or if they own a villa, or if they stay at a vacation club and they are using the taxis or a private car and they are moving around the island, what contribution do they bring to our economy? So we have to start to take a broader look at how do we view our long-term relationship with tourism.
Yes, how do we view our long-term relationship with tourism? It's a question I will leave with you. What are the different types of tourism we need? Well, certainly we need to diversify. Educational tourism is already with us. Can't we improve? Can't we enhance it and further develop educational tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis? Medical health tourism is another area that we must consider as well. And all the views that you've advanced, my Stray Dog family, we are grateful for them. We are grateful for them. What about agriculture and a partnership with with agriculture and tourism? All these cruise ships come to the ports. Over 600 cruise ship calls, and not one take or procure anything from our farmers. Why is tourism seasonal? Another question we ask. But these are some of the questions I leave with you to chew on. But I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the many callers who participated in the program tonight. Those of you who listen on the big bad 96.5 FM, your radio station, the national radio station. And those on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and other media. Remember, without you, there's no Straight Talk. And I say a big, big thank you. So until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I go get my second dose, my second vaccine tomorrow, and I'll be fully vaccinated. I can tell you, I want to encourage you to do the same. That's one way of protection as it relates to this dreaded disease called the coronavirus. My Sherlock family, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. Remember, whatever you might conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk.